Hi everyone, welcome to Difference Frames the World, an independent channel where you can see the world from a different angle. Today, we talk about the second term of Donald Trump, which we should have discussed 4 days ago when he delivered a brief inaugural speech as the 47th POTUS on January 20, 2025. The speech lasted about 30 minutes, a short one by his standards, as his campaign rally orations often exceeded an hour. The speech highlighted Trump 2.0 characteristics and ideas. Chinese President Xi Jinping did not attend Donald Trump's inauguration, as we said in a previous video. Still, he sent his vice president, Han Zheng, to meet with key American political and business figures there as a courtesy. Trump reintroduced the America First concept, which remains unchanged from 8 years ago. As before, the Trump administration will abandon allies and withdraw from international organizations if their interests collide with America's. In his speech, Trump announced he would sign historic executive orders to spark a revolution of common sense. He has emphasized common sense, using it 12 times to explain how he will achieve America First. During the American Revolutionary War, John Adams said common sense was vital for independence. However, for most American politicians, common sense is the last thing they possess. For instance, a U.S. senator asked the ByteDance boss whether his app, TikTok, could connect to America's network, threatening America's national security. Unlike that senator, Donald Trump invited ByteDance boss to attend his second inauguration. After 12 hours of suspension, TikTok was given a 75-day grace period and is now back in service for U.S. users. Trump aims to reshape political consensus and reduce resistance to reform by referencing classics, bringing common sense back to the United States. When dealing with the Chinese, who have the highest IQ in the world, U.S. politicians should be less stubborn if they cannot become smarter. During his second presidency, can Trump resolve the challenges Biden faced? Yes and no. When discussing solutions, Trump mentioned taxes 8 times, advocating for collecting taxes from foreign countries instead of U.S. citizens. Why establish this logic? Here, taxes mean tariffs. Trump threatened to impose a 25% tariff on products from Canada, Mexico, and China in the coming weeks. He even introduced the idea of taxing foreign companies and nationals in the United States, threatening to double the tax rate. In contrast to his 2017 inaugural speech emphasizing buy American products and hire American people, Trump did not mention it this time. He only stated that the United States will once again become a manufacturing powerhouse, without detailing how he would create new factories or help American workers regain jobs. Over the past 8 years, Trump and Biden have pursued different strategies to bring industries back to the U.S. Trump relied on tariffs, while Biden emphasized industrial policies. Currently, over 400,000 manufacturing jobs are vacant in the U.S., a figure that could rise to 1.9 million in the next decade. The U.S. does not have enough skilled workers. Notably, infrastructure construction was not mentioned in his recent addresses compared to his 2017 inaugural speech. In 2017, Trump promised to build new infrastructure, but his $1.5 trillion plan was opposed by both parties. After Biden took office, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act was introduced, yet the infrastructure remains outdated. Nearly 1/10 of the 617,000 bridges are severely damaged, and over 15,000 dams are potentially high risk. In 2024, the vice chairman of the National Infrastructure Advisory Council noted that previous presidents have failed to deliver on significant infrastructure investments, including Trump's first term. Trump did not mention these long-standing issues. Instead, he shifted focus to fossil energy. Under his second presidency, he will leave the Paris Agreement again. Studies indicate that if Trump loosens fossil fuel regulations, one of Biden's political legacies, climate change efforts, will become a joke. In 2017, Donald Trump aimed to revitalize manufacturing, but industry returns over the past 8 years were disappointing. Consequently, Trump and his team are adjusting strategies to explore new growth areas in science and technology. Although many CEOs of American tech companies attended the inauguration, none of the top 5 U.S. chip firms were present. NVIDIA's CEO was in Beijing for an annual meeting that day and confirmed NVIDIA's continued cooperation with China. China is the main source of income for many U.S. tech giants, generating 46% of Qualcomm's revenue, 27% of Intel's income, and 15% of NVIDIA's earnings. American chip firms now oppose the policies of the Democratic and Republican parties. Their absence at Trump's inauguration may reflect dissatisfaction with government actions. On January 13, 2025, before leaving office, the Biden administration unveiled the last round of AI chip ban aiming to curb China's development. It is unlikely that the new Trump administration will revoke it in a short time. Many consider Trump's return to the White House as a prelude to a new tech war between China and the United States. Under his second term, China's chip industry will have another leap forward. Because of Joe Biden's crackdowns, China is beginning to export 28-nanometer lithography machines at a fractional price, which ASML deems violating rules. Although Donald Trump claims if the U.S. joins hands with China, all international issues can be settled, we hardly believe he will cooperate with Beijing. Most of his subordinates, particularly the state secretary, are hostile to Beijing. As a result, it is less likely Washington will become Beijing's friend. To make things worse, many regard Donald Trump as the most powerful American president in history, as Republicans have controlled Congress and the Supreme Court. In the next 2 years, at least, Trump will face minimal resistance in advancing his political agenda. This environment encourages him to pursue his policies and project a strong presidential image. In contrast to his last inaugural address, where he discussed foreign policy, Trump's recent speech omitted any mention of diplomacy. His remarks, such as buying Greenland or annexing Canada, demonstrate a disregard for international norms. He also hinted that the U.S. should reclaim the Panama Canal and signed an order to rename the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. These remarks have caused international dissatisfaction. The president of Panama responded that no one could interfere with Panama's management and that the canal would remain under Panamanian control and permanently neutral. To improve his political image, Trump proposed measures focusing on legal system construction, although he is the first convicted U.S. president. He also pardoned over 1,000 rioters who attacked Capitol Hill 4 years ago. An analysis of his social media speeches since last November shows that rule of law government is his most mentioned topic. Unlike 4 years ago when he governed via Twitter, he now aims to establish a legal process for his policies through agency reform. But can this legal system construction be trusted? Trump's reform of federal agencies aims to suppress those he dislikes and remove officials who oppose him, creating a reliable organization for his agenda. He revoked the security detail of Bolton and Pompeo for their betrayals, telling his subordinates that he needed obedience more than the so-called rule of law. The inauguration parade saw dramatic changes, featuring more local police and fire departments alongside military branches like the Army, Navy, and Air Force. It also included new groups such as public security, emergency teams involved in the Trump assassination case, the Florida Firefighters Band, and New York's Emerald Society. This shift from showcasing external military power to emphasizing domestic security reflects a response to over 300 incidents of political violence since the Capitol Hill riots on January 6, 2021. An increased presence of civilian teams in this parade indicates a focus on preventing domestic riots and enhancing civil interaction as potential political goals for Trump. One should never take his words seriously. During his last term, the Washington Post reported he made unreliable remarks up to 15 times per day. Will Trump's governing style change this time? Probably not. It is not easy for old dogs to learn new tricks, and more difficult for them to abandon old habits. After 4 years in office, Trump may have gained some understanding of key issues, but it's uncertain if this will lead to a more cautious governing style. His current remarks suggest he still tends to exaggerate and exert extreme pressure, indicating these traits are unlikely to change. Trump's speech centers on unity, strength, and fairness. However, despite calls for unity, the U.S. has faced social divisions and intensified partisanship over the past 4 years. Unity has become a slogan amid political division in the United States. Trump murmurs this mantra while accusing the Biden administration of ineffectiveness over the past 4 years, paving the way for swift implementation of his policies. His concept of fairness contrasts with the Democratic focus on vulnerable groups. Many of Trump's proposed policies will worsen societal conflicts, particularly immigration and border issues. He has declared a national emergency at the southern border to address what he calls a catastrophic invasion of illegal immigrants. Concerns arise about division within Trump's team. Current cabinet members or nominees share similar roles but differ in views. For example, Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary nominee from Wall Street with traditional Republican views, contrasts with Vice President Vance's statement that they will no longer cater to Wall Street. Interestingly, Donald Trump considers the stock market paramount. Elon Musk advocates for labor deregulation, while the Labor Secretary nominee supports unions and safety regulations. Can the U.S. achieve unity, strength, and fairness in the next 4 years? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our other videos on global affairs for more insights into this complex and rapidly evolving landscape. We have included most of our videos in the playlist DFTW videos on the end screen for viewers who have not watched them. For those new to DFTW, please subscribe to our channel for our daily uploads. Like, forward, and share our videos with your friends, helping DFTW become a club with 1 million, not 100,000 subscribers shortly.